I will call our regular meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. We're here for our first trustee meeting of the month. First of all, does someone have an invocation?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd ask everyone who's able to please stand. Thank you.
This is from Bethel Baptist Temple. Heavenly Father, we humbly ask for your guidance and direction today. Give us wisdom concerning all of the matters before us. We ask your blessings on our families and all of the families that we represent. Please continue to make Sycamore Township a community of beauty, faith, prosperity, harmony, and love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We'll continue with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Mr. Porter, would you please call the roll?
Mr. LaBarbera?
Here.
Mr. James?
Here.
Mr. Weedman?
Present. All right. I'll note also Trustee-elect Tracy Schwegman is here. Mrs. Schwegman, welcome this evening. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. All right. First we have on the agenda, we have our minutes from our October 19th, 2021 trustee meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Porter, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Next, we have a proclamation for Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. Tom, would you like to present this?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, do we have the? Can we get this up on the screen, please?
Yep, sorry.
All right, here we go. All right, we have a proclamation for consideration by the board here. It reads, whereas in 2021, an estimated 60,430 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 48,220 people will die from the disease. And whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, it is currently the third leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States. And whereas the 5-year relative survival rate for people diagnosed at all stages of this disease is 10%. However, people diagnosed at the local stage have a 5-year survival rate of 39%. And whereas pancreatic cancer is a leading cause of cancer deaths, largely because there are no detection tools to diagnose the disease in its early stages, and whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Sycamore Township are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Township Trustees of Sycamore Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, that November 2021 is designated Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Sycamore Township.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Porter, will you call the roll? Let's do this.
Mr. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Okay, if I may make a comment. Speaking of cancer, Tom James' wife had stage 4 cancer, and just a week ago we found out everything's well. So she's cancer-free. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm praying for her.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the doctor said he won't use the term cancer-free for anyone, but we're as close as you can get to that. So that's, yeah, thank you. Thank you. And all the trustees' wives have been touched by this in some ways. So this is something close to home to everyone, not just pancreatic cancer, but all kinds. So moving on. Next, we had a zoning public hearing at 6:30 this evening. And so we have that for presentation first as to zoning case number 2021-15MA. Mr. Miller, take it away.
Yes, sir. Actually, Mr. Warwick, you have my copy. Would you mind reading the title, and I'll find the digital version?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you, sir.
It reads, a resolution approving a major adjustment to a PUD for the 5 Star Equity Investors LLC development, Villas of Kenwood, located at 6373, 6379, 6385, 6391, 6409, 6435, 6459, 6485, 6511, 6537, and 6579 Kugler Mill Road, Sycamore Township, Ohio 45236, and dispensing with a second reading.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion as to this from anyone? All right. Just for the public's benefit, if there's anyone who wasn't viewing the earlier public hearing who's curious, this changes the yard setback somewhat on 5 of the lots on the Villas of Kenwood housing project, which is going in on Kugler Mill Road, right at I-71. This will allow for building of larger houses there at greater value, and should be a net plus for the township in that happening. The surrounding neighborhoods are on board with this also. If there's no further discussion, Mr. Porter, will you call the roll?
Mr. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weeder?
Aye.
Next, we have public comments. Do we have anyone who signed up to do that?
I think somebody just did.
All right, if you could come up to the podium and state your name and your address, and then we ask that you limit your comments to 4 minutes, and you don't have to fill that time if you don't want to, on the other hand.
Thanks. My name is Zach Conley. I live at 8074 Sterling Cove. It's off of School Road. Thank you for having the meeting. It's the first time I've been here. I'm just enjoying listening to the rest of the agenda. I have trying to take a new interest in our local public government. One thing that I've lived at this property for the last 14 years, right off of School Road, as you know, has no sidewalks. It's a very busy road with some of the industrial traffic that goes in and out of School Road. What's nice about School Road is it begins and ends. It has, pretty short. It's a short distance. It's about 1.5 miles. I would like to know more about, or hear about, or work with somebody about how the process works for sidewalks. I know other sidewalks are going in other parts of the township. I think would be a good idea to look into sidewalks for this particular road for a couple different reasons. One, there are 3 neighborhoods that could be connected by a sidewalk the length of School Road. School Road also has 2 parks and a school on it. That would make a sidewalk would join those 3 different parts of the community together for both bikes, pedestrian traffic, whatever it might be. And lastly, with some of the other development going on in Kemper Road, on Fields Erdel, other places, that sidewalk there could potentially allow further traffic to get to some of the other places of development that are going on within the township. So I would just like to kind of throw my support for it, but also like to hear more about at some point before or after the meeting, or just where I can get more information about getting involved with trying to talk about, discuss, and see if that's something that could be done for the future. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Tracy, could you just provide an overview, because people in the public regularly ask about sidewalks. What's involved in getting them on a road such as School, and is School one of ours, or is that a county road?
School is a county road. We have put sidewalks on county roads before, but it's always included a grant, with a larger project. Obviously, in a subdivision type, you would have somebody put a petition together, and you would need 51% of the affected homeowners whose frontages were affected agree to it, and it would be assessed to their taxes over a period of time. But something like School Road, which is a connector road, kind of like Kugler Mill, like we've done Sycamore also. We have looked into right now. I know Sharonville has a Safe Routes to School grant that they have submitted. We have not heard about that. That will be going up and down Conray, touching Fields Erdel, and coming down School a little bit to include the elementary school there. And we have tried to put a couple applications for grants in to come, not necessarily from the other way, but to come down Kemper, Salzman, all the way to School. We have been unsuccessful in doing that. It is something that we could attempt to put a grant together. Obviously, that you'd have to check to see, what kind of right-of-way it is there, what's the topography of the area. That's more than just putting in a sidewalk. So we would have to have engineering on that also, obviously.
Do you know
something
whether
that big.
Do you know whether that's in range of any of the projects that are eligible for the bus tax funding?
I would have to check that, because when we were looking before on Kemper, it was very close. You have to be within a half a mile.
Or half mile, okay.
Yeah. So the very beginning of Kemper was just because there's buses on Montgomery Road.
Mm-hmm.
This, I doubt if we would be able to get the sort of grant for that, because you have to be within a half a mile of it. But there's other grants out there.
Tracy, I think we looked at this once before, a number of years ago, and I think there was a limited right-of-way along school, if I remember correctly.
There are some areas that are limited right away. And obviously, this would be something that we would have to quarterback. The county would not be interested in putting sidewalks in.
Well, let's see if we can take a look at this and at least get it on the list of things to move along at some point. There's some other roads up in the north and other places that could use them. Snyder's another one that is a multi-jurisdictional area that might be able to use them too. But Mr. Conley, thanks for bringing this to us, and keep after us for it, please.
I will, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other public comments from anyone who's here, signed up or otherwise? All right. Moving on then for public comments. We did have a presentation on the schedule as to a project, but I understand that's been pulled for this evening and moved to another meeting. So we'll move on to the Sheriff's Patrol report.
Evening, everybody. Nothing really to report. Just wanted to thank the fire department and let everyone know we did conduct an active shooter drill last month at Moeller High School in conjunction with the fire department. Got some really good feedback from the school. This is an opportunity for us and the fire department to for our guys to learn practice how they would respond to not just an active shooter but any mass casualty event, and obviously the school, on their end, how they would respond if they had to evacuate quickly. So really worked out well, and hopefully we can get together again next year.
All right. Any questions for Lieutenant Tarr from anyone? I have one about Neighborhood Watch up in the High Point area. Do we have a date for that yet? I don't think we had one on the calendar yet, and we were looking for one in November, I thought.
I'll check with Deputy Bitterman. He hurt his shoulder again, so he was out for a couple weeks.
Okay.
He's had a really bad shoulder injury for a long time. He played football. I believe he's back tomorrow.
Okay.
That's when his squad is on, so I will check with him and Sergeant Sauter.
Okay, if you could maybe shoot us.
I know he's
email
talked
too.
to them about it. It's in the works.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Moving on then to EMS and Fire Report. Chief Penny, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, Station 93 is coming along. We got the kitchen finished up there other than the floors, but the countertops, the sinks in, grease trap's been filled. I was up there last week. It really looks nice. And down here, they did complete the fire alarm, and we had it tested. It passed. Everything's been inspected, so we're all to code. So we now have a 100% working fire alarm system.
Yay!
In the station, so that's good. And then the only other thing I have is we should get the booster shots for the COVID probably next week. For some reason, the state or the health department had made our guy go through some training for it, not necessarily to administer the vaccine, but how to log it on their website for documentation. So they had to sit through that before they were released the medication to us. So he did that, so we should be getting the medication pretty soon.
Have any of our guys gone out and gotten it on their own?
I don't think so. No. But we got the list of everybody that we gave it to originally, and anybody that wants it, we'll be reaching out to them and see if they want to get that.
Very good.
That's all I got.
All right. Any questions for Chief Penny from anyone? Thank you very much. We'll move it along here. Roads maintenance and recreation. Tracy, what have you got for us tonight?
The first thing that I have, I believe it's on the screen in front of you, or it was. I think this was included in your packet. This is something that Mr. Petty was working on with this gentleman from the Queen City Mobile Food Truck Association. I know the Park Committee has talked about this and are very excited about it. So we wanted to bring this up to you just because this guy needs time to plan this. He's looking at putting a food truck, what he says is going to be a competition in Raleigh, at Bechtold Park. So there is it's going to be the last day of the Cincinnati Food Truck Week, and they want to have the last event at our park. He's very excited about it. If you've looked through this, looking to have 20 local regional food trucks in there, a live stage with performers, local craft breweries in common with specialty mobile beverage trucks, food, multiple sponsorship levels that he is going to put together. Most of the work is going to be done by this organization. There's a $300 admission fee for every truck that wants to enter. He says that he believes that he'll have no trouble filling it and probably be turning people away. Looking to have a stage up there, bands all day, cornhole tournaments, sand volleyball. Something that we could do at Bechtold that I think would be really exciting. If you can see what his obligations are, he's handling the recruitment of the trucks, all the marketing, the sponsorship levels. He's going to book the entertainment. Looking at doing a 60-40 split for the township, 60% for him, 40% for the township on what they bring in that day. He'll carry the insurance. And for us, it's asking that we have personnel there to assist with trash pickup, have safety and security personnel during the event. Other than that, we would provide the stage, although we're not going to. He will be providing all the musical acts. He would like us to provide the stage, and just for us to promote it on our website in digital format. He'll be doing most of the promotion through their organization. So just looking to see if, I have not talked to this gentleman. I know Mr. Petty met with him once, talked to him on the phone at least one other time. So just looking to see if this is something that you would like us to pursue. He's very anxious to know so he can get started on it.
Tracy, sounds interesting. So that 60-40 split, is that just from the $300 fees?
No,
or is
that's
that on sales?
That's for the sales. Jason was not clear if it was the $300 fee. It is definitely for the sales during the event, because the $300 fee goes to for the prizes and different things for the event.
So is that sales or profit?
It says net revenues in this agreement.
Net.
Okay, net.
I think they also will pay to rent the park per our menu of.
Oh, okay. I think it sounds like a great idea. There are some logistical things we need to work out, I think. You know, parking, if this has 20 trucks there and they're going to be parked there too.
Well, they're looking to park the trucks on the path.
Okay.
And everybody be in the grass so we can utilize the parking lots.
Okay. Do you have any concerns about them doing that? I mean,
of course I do. I mean, if it's a hot June day and it's 100 degrees, no. But if it rains for a week beforehand, then I definitely have an issue, because those trucks are not going to be able to turn on some of the radiuses of our path that goes around the park. But, you know, to get them in and out, we can always assist them with plywood and whatever's needed. I mean, I think it's a good event. You know, I had talked to Jason about we would probably block off the back so we could put portalets back there. Also, we would have all the workers parked there, because we don't want people driving back there while people are back there. So they could use the front lot and the middle lot. The back lot, I think, we would reserve for workers that are going to be there all during the event that don't need access in and out while the event's going on.
yeah, I think this is a great use of the park. It sounds like a great event, and it should draw people from within the township and maybe from around too, but not at significant expense to us, which is a good thing. There is mention in here of a possible fireworks show, and that will be
already
controversial.
crossed that out.
So, okay.
That was the first thing I crossed out and said, we just don't have the room at Bechtold.
Yeah.
Tracy, opening and closing, what times?
11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
10 p.m., okay.
I like it. I think it's a great idea. Now, have they done this before? Has anybody done this? You know,
Oh, yeah, they have done it. In fact, there's going to be a rally at Summit Park on Friday, the night before, and Summit has already done this before.
Okay.
And this will be Saturday, the following night. Will be the last rally of the week.
Yeah, I've seen these out in Westchester before too, on the Union Center Boulevard.
A lot of
and a few other
communities have
places.
done it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Showcase our Beckfield Park. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds
I
like a
didn't even
win-win.
know
Do you need a
there was
vote?
I didn't even know there was a food truck week. So,
There's a week for everything.
yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Well, do you need a vote from the board, or were you looking to take our temperature here?
I was looking to take your temperature and see if you want us to proceed with it. I mean, we could, you know,
I'm good with it.
I don't know if we need a motion for this.
I don't think you do.
I don't think we do.
Okay. Very good. Sounds like a great plan. What else have you got for us?
So Kugler Mill, we're hoping to get done. I mean, we're supposed to be paving next week. We were hoping the end of this week. I don't know if we're going to make it at the end of this week. We've got the intermediate course on, so you know we're getting close on temperatures, but that we're lined up for the end of this week, early next week to have it. And then all they'll have left to do after that is some restoration. So all the citizens seem to be happy with what's going on. We've got lots of compliments.
It's looking great. You'll be happy to know I haven't been driving on it for the last week either, so I got out of the way.
Good.
Yeah.
And people are already using the sidewalk. You go over there just to watch construction, and people are already walking up and down. So they're obviously using the sidewalk a lot. So other than that, all I have is we have been contacted by Sims Township. Sims Township is looking at putting a fence up over, you can see the picture in front of you. They're doing two locations. One is over Hopewell Road and one is over Snyder, or the Snyder Bridge. This is going to be during construction. This is the design that Sims is looking to do, and they wondered if we were interested, since Snyder Road separates our jurisdictions, if we would like to have this on the other side of the bridge saying Sycamore Township.
Are they buying?
Of course not. Did you think they would?
I did not.
And how much?
So right now the estimate is about $210,000 for the whole bridge, so that half of that would be ours, 105, and they're still talking with ODOT as to whether they will pay for a third of it, because if ODOT does it, they have to put up a standard vandal fence anyway. So that would be included in the price. If they agree to that, then it would reduce it by 1/3.
So either way, there's a fence going up on both sides of the bridge, in other words.
Yes, but it won't be decorative like this. It'll be a vandal-proof fence like you see over any other highway.
So you're saying we get a credit for that?
I'm saying we are talking to ODOT about
Gotcha.
that now.
Gotcha. We can use TIF on that, correct?
Yes.
I mean, I'm in favor of it. I think helping to brand our township is always good. Giving it an identification. I know we talked about the intersections of I-71 in Montgomery and I-71 in Kenwood and I-275 in Montgomery at one point in time. I think this is a good start. I'm for it. If we can use TIF, that's fine.
I think it would look nice, but I don't want to spend the money on it. For years, driving around Ohio, I've looked at all these communities that have fancy things on their bridges, and I think, why did they pay for that? So,
Unless you can get that down pretty low, I would be against it too.
Well, this is the price. I
So,
mean,
but you're talking 60, maybe 60,000, right? You take a third of that, you're looking at.
yeah, I mean 60 to 70 if ODOT pitches in. I mean, you know, it is TIF. It's not coming out of general fund.
So how would this be, and I'm not sure I get the orientation here either, I guess, but, you know, we're talking about Snyder, for example, is one of these, right? Is that what you
Correct.
said? All right. So
Yeah, Hopewell is just them. They're doing both sides
Yeah.
of Hopewell.
Okay,
We're
but-
not doing Hopewell.
okay. So we're looking at one bridge.
Yes.
Okay. So which side would our name be on? The northbound, like facing south, you'd see it headed northbound as you're leaving the township?
No, you would see it as you're entering.
Okay, so the sign would be sitting in Sims, basically, on that side of the road?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And their sign would be sitting in Sycamore, so that you're reading it as you're going into Sims or into Sycamore.
Again, I think it would look very nice, but I don't really see that it's something to spend money on. And there's no motion as to this. I assume we'd need that to spend the money on it. If somebody wants to make one, go ahead, but.
When's this project? This project's out some to where?
Yeah, the project's out 2 years.
Do they need us to send money now? I didn't even think these numbers were firm yet, but
These numbers are not firm. This is a estimate from what, from the last time there was a project like this big. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, this is out because ODOT is going to redo the bridge. So while they're redoing the bridge, this was a chance to have this done.
Okay. Do we have an opportunity to table this
yeah,
and still not have a timetable issue?
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
even think we're going to have the money pinned down this year.
Right.
Okay, I'd make a motion we table it.
I don't know that we even need a motion. Yeah, we don't really need a motion. We didn't have a motion before us in the first place, but I'm fine to reconsider this later too. I mean, I'm always open to persuasion, but I'm
I'm
not thrilled right now. Maybe the numbers will get better later though, and you'll convince me otherwise. So,
I can talk to ODOT and them and let them know. Probably.
You don't need a motion.
no, there's no motion before us, so I'm just waiting to see if Tracy has something else here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this, it sounds like the ODOT piece of this is still out there, and that might change the way the board looks at it, depending on what the overall cost is. So rather than having a motion to table it, I think it just makes sense to let Tracy and his men and women continue to engage in the dialogue and then come back with more information.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sounds good.
twist their arm, get them to pay for it, and I'd love it then. So,
Sure you would.
all right, what else have you got for us, Tracy?
So the new playground is going in at Bechtold. If you've been over there, if you haven't, it's really going to be nice. Quite an improvement over what we had. One of the playgrounds is almost done, and as soon as they're done, they will be starting on the second one. Other than that, we also have the Dillon Vale Culvert project going on, where we're building head walls, where we were having slippage coming up to our roads. One was on Wicklow and the other's on Mantell. That project is being built as we speak. Ford Development is doing that. That's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Anything new from the county on their Color Road sewage pump idea?
Oh, from MSD?
Yeah.
No, haven't heard a word from them.
All right. Any questions for Tracy?
So they got back to me with an email, and young lady said I would probably be the one to come out. Are there any specific questions? And I gave her the question, and I haven't heard anything since.
Ball's in their court right now on that.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right, and I had asked you, I guess yesterday, about the Kugler Mill corridor study. You got comments from the county. You're waiting on them from the state. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Anybody have questions for Tracy about anything?
Nope.
All right. Thanks, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess one other question. We have a Parks Committee vacancy we're anticipating. I don't know where we are with that yet. We're not at the end of the year yet when that might be happening, but do you have any update on that yourself?
I do not.
No? Okay. I know we got some applications for that, so. Okay. Moving on to planning and zoning then. Mr. Miller.
Okay. All right. We did have a resolution tonight, but I'm happy to report that nuisance property has been abated. That was through voluntary compliance with the property owner. Aside from that, at our last zoning commission meeting, the land use plan as well as the text amendments were reviewed and finally approved, or a recommendation for approval has been made. So we do need to schedule public hearings in front of this board to review those two items. We did receive some staff level comments from Hamilton County on the land use plan, which I think were all positive. There were some recommendations for future additions, but the document as is, they seemed really impressed with. So I'm looking forward to moving that ball down the field.
So when are you anticipating for public hearings for that?
Honestly, the public hearings that we've had with zoning commission have been very light on attendance. So unless everybody's waiting to come out, to flood this room, for the trustees, I think we could get it done in an hour. The text amendment shouldn't take any more than 5 or 10 minutes, so they're very modest. The land use plan, as we've discussed, it has an interesting format that it's kind of a multi-layer review of land use in the township, but it's essentially a framework that allows us to build on in the future. So, I think we've addressed the most controversial areas, and those areas that still need work, we're committed to adding those additional policy areas next year. So, we do need to adopt a new land use plan, I think, and I think this is like I said, this is a framework document that everybody can get behind.
This is a very dry topic to many, of course, too, and as you said, not a lot of people have shown up. On the other hand, it's something that's a really big deal, too, for people in their neighborhoods, and I recognize we may not have a lot of people turn out even when we have the public hearing, but we might. I know when the county has projects for certain things, they'll actually do an open house to present some of this also. At the risk of doing it and having no one show up, it might be worthwhile still for us to do one here and one up north at the Schuler building, so people there, when it's convenient to them in the evening, could come see it and ask questions. Is that something maybe we could schedule to do in advance of a public hearing?
I'm happy to take any direction from the board. We can present it to the community however you see fit.
It's not just my call. Anybody have thoughts on that? Do you think that's a good idea, bad idea?
I don't think it's necessary.
What's that, sir?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
We're talking about a handful of people are probably going to end up showing up anyway. We can certainly present that in this room prior to the public hearing as well.
Sure. Document is available online. We will certainly make a concerted effort, between now and December to, push the word about it. So, and I'll field any concerns ahead of time. So,
that's a good vehicle also to put it on the internet. So.
Yeah, maybe we could even do a special push on our monthly email newsletter, and do a special edition just to let people know. I don't know how many subscribers we actually have, but
we can certainly do that.
Yeah. I just want people to have the opportunity to take a look.
Did you have anything in the newsletter about it? We have a newsletter getting ready to go out.
We did push for, we did a big discussion about it in the last newsletter. Depending on when that one hits, it may already be approved, so I didn't talk about it directly in this one. So
do that email.
I was hoping, we'll do constant contact and Facebook updates, to get the word out. But timing wise, the newsletter just didn't seem to make sense this time around.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Just one more thing. I'm happy to report that the Port Authority's purchase has been approved by the court of the Drake and Carousel properties. That was approved by the court on November 1st. There's a 30-day appeal window that we're in right now. So they are looking to close the first week of December. So
Very good.
as soon as they have control of the properties, they want to aggressively start the demo process. What that means, as far as I don't know if they have already started. I don't know if they've already started the initial work with a contractor, or if they have to start from square one with securing that that contractor. I'm not sure timing wise, but they did say it would be a major priority for them as soon as they had control of the site.
What was the cost here now?
We were estimating it at about $500,000.
Chief, could you use that building for training at all? Either one of those?
Probably not.
Drake?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
If they take a dozer down there, I'll tear it down.
Yeah.
They're pretty rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could probably charge admission for doing that even, Are they going to need permits from us as to any of the demolition?
Not for the demo piece.
Okay.
No. There of course there's going to be county earth moving, demo from Hamilton County Building, but no, nothing from us. We're gonna stay out of their way and let them get those buildings down.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Miller from anybody? I want to ask you before the meeting, just in case this person's watching who asked me the question. A resident asked me if there's any limit on the number of dogs someone can have in the township. Can you explain the answer to that?
The short answer is no. The longer answer is we don't regulate the number of animals, but we do regulate by nuisance. So we have the excessive noise nuisance. Health department has odor and noxious material issues that can be addressed. So we don't arbitrarily set a number for dogs or other domesticated animals. But if they create a nuisance in your neighborhood, that's something that we'll address.
There we go. Thank you. All right, moving on to the law director report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody. The only thing I really want to talk about tonight here in our general session is the resolution regarding the ARPA funds. As you will notice, it's styled a resolution nunc pro tunc, Latin now for then. So the main purpose of this resolution is simply to authorize the township to accept any monies coming from ARPA through what's called the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. To the extent we've received anything, that's where the nunc pro tunc comes in. It retroactively captures that. This is something that's being required by the auditor of state. It also has a second piece to it, which is to authorize Mr. Porter's office to request funding through the grants portal that's set up for that process. But the main point here being that we're just trying to retroactively capture any monies that we've already applied for or received.
All right. Anything else? We have this on the agenda under Mr. Warwick's report, so we'll wait for that to consider that motion then. All right, and moving on to Mr. Warwick. What have we got?
Okay, well, let's do the nunc pro tunc first. This recovery thing, also known as ARPA, they're going to send us about $2 million total. They've already sent us just a little over $1 million this year. They sent it. They didn't ask us to do any resolution or anything like the former CARES Act. And then they're kind of changing the rules as they go. So that's why we're asking for it now. So it has been funded with $1 million. Nothing's been appropriated yet. And I've mentioned before, the township has until December 2024 to earmark it or appropriate it, and then has until December 2026 to spend the funds. The portal is already open and working. Chief Penny is taking care of that, and sometime in, like I say, calendar 2022, we should get the other $1 million, and the township has time to decide how they want to utilize it. The rules have been slightly altered even since the inception of this, and I would suspect they'll be altered some more as we move forward. So unless there's any other questions, I'll read the resolution.
Go ahead.
A resolution nunc pro tunc accepting funds from the Coronavirus State and the local fiscal recovery fund established by the American Rescue Plan Act, and authorizing the township's fiscal officer to request funding through the grants portal.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Porter, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Whedon?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to put on the board's radar that the current contract we have with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office terminates on March 31st of 2022, and there's a 90-day notice period that basically says if we want to renew this contract, we have to notify them in writing in 90 days, and I suspect if we wanted to renegotiate in any way or talk to them about current or future costs, that we probably should notify them before the 90 days, and then the board can decide what they want to do. Okay, we have, this is the end of the year appropriating of funds and transferring of funds.
Wait, one second, I'm sorry, just backing up. So
Yeah.
when does that 90-day deadline hit?
I would say January 1st.
Okay, so yeah, got a month and a half. Okay, thank you.
Let's jump ahead to the October financials, which you've had for a couple of weeks. Once again, unless there's other in-depth questions, through 10 months, which is about 83% of the year, our revenue is running at 106% of budget. Essentially, all revenue areas are running above budget except for one of the JEDs, and that one's, about 8% behind. But everywhere else, the revenue is up. On the spending side, once again with 83% of the year gone, we've spent 75% of our budget. So that's another just macro thing to look at, and we're in good shape there. The only area that is over is the fire department, and they're at 87.5% right now, and in the appropriations that we're going to, the amended appropriations we're going to ask for this evening, solve some of those issues in the fire department and a few other little areas where we didn't appropriate enough money compared to the run rate for this year. The closing of the month once again went well. The balance to the checkbook was without issue. So all of the cash ties. Any questions on October finance?
Nope.
Okay. We have a resolution amending, asking you to amend the 2021 appropriations again. There's a lot of areas covered. It actually would have been a negative ask tonight because we still had money appropriated that had to do with retiring the bond anticipation note for the new maintenance building. And of course, we decided to do that again, so that money can be taken down, which was about $3.25 million. The big appropriation in here that runs it back into the positive is a new capital fund that we had to set up, and this is for the Larchview project, the road project. And it gets a little confusing, and Tracy and I had a lot of questions about why we had to book it this way, but the state rules, I think, has convinced us we'll go ahead and play along. So the total cost of the project is $4,650,831, and that's just the amount of money that will be paid into the project. We're actually, after all is said and done, the only cost that the township will bear will come to about $1,072,000. because a portion is paid by a state agency, LTIP, I don't remember what it stands for. It's like OPWC. The county has already given their reimbursement of $807,000, so we have that money. And then Waterworks would reimburse at a total of $1.3 million, and we already have $1.1 million of that. So we have to, we put it in this separate fund so it will be easy to track and clear out when the project's done. The other increases in appropriations, once again, we're just taking a look at lines where we thought we would run short based on the original appropriations. I don't foresee that we would need to do anything else for this year, and we'll be ready to close the year after the end of December. Any questions? I'll read the resolution. A resolution amending 2021 appropriations, dispensing with a second reading and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Thank you. As a follow-on to the appropriations you just approved, we appropriated to transfer another $200,000 from the Central JED, which is Fund number 2923, to the Fire Department, which is Fund 2111. This is simply because the Fire Department is running short on funds in this year, and this is probably the budget area where the township has to pay some attention to and come up with a little bit of a plan based on the cost, overall cost of the fire department. We're going to, in the final budget that we'll be presenting to you next meeting, we're attempting to take less money out of the JEDs for the 2022 budget because we are taking the JEDs down, taking more money out than's coming in. So we're trying to stem some of that in the short run. But we need to move this $200,000 from the Central JED, which has over $1 million in it right now, to the fire department.
Okay, wait just a moment. The resolution that just got passed down, I think, is the one you're talking about now, not the one we just passed.
No. No.
Oh, then I have them backward here. Excuse me. I was looking at the number on it. Okay. Pardon me.
We had to appropriate it before we could transfer it.
Ah, you are correct. Okay, sorry. We're backward in my packet, so.
Any questions about this one? I will read it. A resolution authorizing and directing transfers of funds to reconcile budgets and appropriations and dispensing with a second reading.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Okay, finally, I have some purchase orders over $5,000 that require the board's approval. I'm going to go over each of them, and then maybe I'll ask you to approve them all at once, if that's okay. First one is 117, a blanket for the Kenwood Town Center Christmas security. They're asking for $28,000. Two things happened here. We used to help them cover 1 week. They're actually going to do 2 weeks of this. And the detail rate per hour is going up rather significantly, and that's driven by good old-fashioned supply and demand. The $40 rate that we paid for that last year, Sheriff's Office is saying, gee, we don't know what to tell you because probably we can't fill that detail. So the suggested rate, I think in their discussions with the mall, and I think Lieutenant Tarr has been in on that, is projecting it at a $55 an hour rate. And so to do our portion of the 2 weeks, it would come to $28,000, which we would pay out of the TIF. Next up is, the next two are paying debt obligations. The first one is the various purpose refunding for bonds 2016. That covers the 2016 bonds that have been consolidated over time, and also includes the Redstone. And this is the principal payment for the year and half a year's interest at $557,350, and that's purchase order 724. The next one is 2014 GO bonds, and that's for Tri-Health. Purchase order 725 is for $138,375. Next one, 726. This is the Dillondale Culvert that Tracy talked about earlier. This is to pay the vendor for development $182,767.75. Next one is for Duke Energy 733. This is simply for fire stations for $15,000. This is just they don't have enough PO coverage, if you will, to pay the utility bills for the rest of the year, so they need a new PO. We had a shelter catch on fire, as you recall. So purchase order 748 at $39,806 is to do the repairs. Some of that will be mitigated by insurance coverage, but I don't remember what number we're at with them. Do you, Tracy?
We will only pay end up paying what our $1,000 deductible.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Next is PO 751 for landscape material for $67.32. Once again, I think this is the PO that we had there was too tight, and they need a little more.
750.
Yeah. And then we have once again a uniform area, which is PO 753, $5,000. Once again, just giving more buying authority for the rest of the year. And then the large PO 757 is the large 2 project that I already addressed. And even though we aren't going to end up spending the $4,650,831.02, we have to go ahead and appropriate that amount, because we don't know the timing of the cash coming in. And since we are the driver of this project, we may be indeed paying vendors ahead of all of the reimbursement money that comes in, but we've already got a considerable amount of it in.
Yeah. So there will be a lot left over from that PO, because part of this is OPWC grant also that we have to cover, and that's direct pay to the contractor. So that PO will have quite a large amount left over at the end.
Unless I missed something, 750 was not included,
right.
Which is Redstone School payment.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, this we pay the Cincinnati School District out of that TIF just at the end of the year. So this is the payment for the whole year of $256,835.26.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve purchase orders over $5,000.
And I'll second that.
All right, just for the record, we were talking about purchase order numbers 117, 724, 725, 726, 733, 748, 750, 751, 753, and 757. Any discussion as to any of that? Mr. Porter, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
That's all I have, thanks.
All right. Fiscal Officer Report, Mr. Porter.
Yes, I have receipts of $2,860,222.93, disbursements of $1,904,823.32. A complete listing of all the receipts and disbursements is available in the packet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, on to trustee comments. Mr. Weedman.
I'd like to just congratulate Trustee-elect Tracy Schwegman. I'm looking forward to working with her in the new year, and I would encourage our chair to include her in the executive sessions we have coming up. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. LaBarbera.
Well, I also want to congratulate our newest, the first ever female trustee in the history of Sycamore Township, long overdue, Tracy Schwegman, and also congratulate Tom Weedman on his victory.
Yep.
I want to mention something on our 2021 VFW Memorial Day Parade. It was a joint venture that we do every year with Silverton, Deer Park, and Sycamore. Well, we ended up in Bechtold Park, and our guest of honor, my pleasure to introduce him, was World War II veteran Navy seaman Jim Hines. And I'm sorry to report that his son Russ got in touch with me today. His father passed away yesterday morning. So it was nice that we honored him, especially this year. And that's all I have.
All right. I'd also like to congratulate Mrs. Schwegman for joining us here on the board come January 1st. I'm looking forward to having you up here, and I'm thrilled that you've been elected. I want to congratulate Mr. Weedman on his re-election also, and thank Mr. LaBarbera for his many years of service, which aren't over yet. Got to get through December here, so got that going on. As to Mr. Weedman's comment about executive session, I wanted to do that also, and I reached out to our law director about that. And can you tell everyone what you told me about inviting her back there? Because I'd like to have a say on some of what we're doing.
So we're going to have to be a little careful, right? Because Ms. Schwegman is right now not a trustee, and she is not an employee. So there's no attorney-client relationship with her. So anything that would be discussed back there that would otherwise be confidential would not be, because it was not held within the conference of a client and an attorney. So in terms of, we got a number of items, and I think there are some things that we can have her back there for, and there are some things that she'll have to be excused for, so that we can have the open discourse that the trustees usually want to have with their attorney.
All right, thanks. So to the extent we can include you, we will do that. And I will note Mr. Weedman did the same for me after I was elected, and I appreciated it very much and was able to have some input on things and understand some things early on. So very good. Let's see, before we move on to executive session then, just announcement changes. We have the Citizen Finance Committee meeting coming up on Wednesday, November 17th at 6 p.m. here at the Administration Building. Otherwise, check our calendar for things on the schedule and things to be scheduled going forward. Check our website as well. At this point, we've got a complicated series of executive sessions here, which I'm going to do my best to incorporate into one motion if we can. I assume we don't need to hopscotch back and forth for that.
Yeah, I think you could just make the motion and then just list all the things we're going in for.
Then I move we adjourn into executive session with our law director, Mr. Deepak Desai, as permitted by Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22, to consider the following: compensation of public employees or officials, to review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, to consider the employment of a public employee, to discuss sale of township property, and to discuss pending litigation.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Porter, will you call the roll?
Mr. LaBarbera.
Aye.
Mr. James.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
And then who are we inviting back?
All right. I'll just note first it is 7:58 p.m. as we are doing this, and as to these, we're going to have a somewhat round robin as to who's in what, I think.
Why don't we do it with who everybody that will be invited, whether in whole or in part,
Right.
and then we can parse out what we need to back there.
All right. So as to that, we'll be inviting the three trustees, Mr. Porter, Mr. Desai, Mr. Warwick, Mr. Kellums, Mr. Miller, Chief Penny, Beth Gunderson, and to the extent we can, Ms. Schwegman. Okay. All right. So we are departing the room at 7:59, and we shall return.
said he wasn't coming back. He
All
said
right. Well, all right, I thought he was. All right, let us know when we're good, Elliot. Oh, we're good. All right. All right, we are back from executive session at 10:02 p.m. Mr. Porter, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. LaBarbera,
here,
Mr. James,
Here.
Mr. Weedman.
Present.
All right, are there any motions?
I'd like make a motion to approve the HRA increases in premiums for 2022 and fully fund seating HSAs for those who wish to switch to HSAs in 2022.
second,
Any discussion as to that? Mr. Porter, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. LaBarbera,
aye,
Mr. James,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Any further business?
Motion to adjourn.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. In favor, Tom?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Good night, everybody. We are adjourned at 10:03 p.m.
10:03.